What's up, everybody? Noah Kaser back here for another episode of Noah Kaser Live. I have a special guest. It's not Kyle, it's not Mike, it's not Luke. This is a bigger guy that I have watched for literally years. I've read his short little blurbs during the reactions, and he's a Rotten Tomatoes approved critic. 71,000 subscribers on YouTube. This is Chris from Movies and Munchies. How are you doing today, sir?
Hey, sir, wait a minute here. You're calling me old and big. No. Hey, no, I'm great. Thank you. It's good to be here.
We have a stacked show. This is one of the biggest shows I've ever done with the most things to talk about because everything just dropped at once. So
Awesome.
We're going to start off with this first. We have a brand new Oceans movie apparently coming out. Back in the day, we had Oceans 11 back in the 60s, but now we have the 14th one. We had the George Clooney 11, 12, 13, and the women leading 8. Well, we have a director attached to it. Now, apparently, it is going to be David Leitch directing Oceans 14. This is coming to us out of nowhere because we got word a couple months ago that we were going to be getting a Oceans 14. There was no writer, director announced. It was only announced that Brad Pitt and George Clooney were going to be attached to it. So this is coming to us from Variety. And Variety is telling us, the Fall Guy and Bullet Train filmmakers in talks to direct Oceans 14 at Warner Brothers. This is going to be a massive film only because if we take a look at this here, all of these, Oceans 11 made just over $450 million at the worldwide box office. Each one got a little bit less. What do you think about this, and how much do you think this film could make, and are you excited about this director announcement?
Well, I like David Leitch, and obviously he's partnering back up with Brad Pitt. So, that's fun. I like the duo of Brad Pitt and George Clooney. I enjoy the Oceans movies. 8 was kind of and actually I don't think they got progressively better, but the dynamics between everybody, it's fun. And it's a good heist little movie, so that I'm okay with that. I don't think this is going to do very well, just because, we're going back to the same IP. What are you going to do now that is fresh, new, that's going to wow audiences, or going to bring them back? I could see this doing really well on the VOD platform, on streaming, something like that, but getting butts in seats in the theaters, I don't know.
What I think is really telling is what they try to do with Wolves. With Brad Pitt and George Clooney, they had no faith in that. Apple had no faith, and it was only in theaters for 1 week. They pulled it, and they put it right on Apple Plus. Do you think that this has any implications on what we can see with the Oceans movie? Because with Wolves, it's not established. It doesn't have a past, but you have 2 lovely stars and a filmmaker who made all 3 of these Spider-Man films in the MCU. What do you think is it different about this and about Oceans 14?
Well, I think Wolves, first off, didn't have the marketing behind it that something like this might. You had several big stars within Wolves, but again, Apple didn't promote it very much. Like you said, it was in the theater barely at all. Even once it hit the platform, it wasn't something that was highly publicized. So it was destined to not do awesomely. I think this, depending on, I don't know which studio it is that has it, but they potentially could have a lot of money behind it if they see, depending on all the actors that are attached to it. Because, golly, just with George Clooney and Brad Pitt alone, the price has skyrocketed. And any additional A-list actor, even B-list actor that they get in there, it's going to drive that price up even more and more and more. And so then your studios have to infuse more money into the marketing so that they can hopefully kind of make it back. And in today's just landscape, I don't see that happening.
Neither do I. What I'm scared of is what they're going to do with the script. Because with Ocean's 8, we got to tease that maybe George Clooney is or isn't still around. I don't know how you rewrite that, because it was pretty clear that she visited somebody. We saw a little bit of shades. Maybe he's dead. Maybe he's alive. I mean, we might see Bullock back, but Bullock hasn't been in anything in theaters that's made a splash in years.
Yeah.
I think the last major one was Gravity back in 2013. But I don't know how to feel about this. I'm excited about it. I like the Ocean's films, but I think it might be too late. I mean, they got progressively worse at the box office, so the fandom wasn't there for it. And with Ocean's 8, seeing that one in theaters, a nice female-led movie, not half bad, but it didn't have the charm of the original.
Yeah. Well, and I think it was more of the same. And that's what I think is the biggest hindrance to these movies, is that it's fine to have that nostalgia. It's fine to have something very fun like this because the concept is great. But if the story doesn't feel fresh, why do I want to keep revisiting or at least investing my money in the theater to go see this when I can just wait for it to hit streaming platforms and watch it at my leisure?
I completely agree. I think that this will be one that goes to theaters, maybe makes $90 million, $100 million, if I'm being completely generous. If the movie looks good, maybe it can be a slight hit, but I think once it goes on Max or Hulu, this will be a comfort watch, and everyone is going to be sitting at home on their couches just continually watching this with their mom, their dad, their wife. And I mean, this might be a streaming hit, but theaters-wise, I don't know. What do you think about that, guys? Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. Going into the comments, we have a regular. He has a very family-friendly name, and that is Butts Unplugged. Welcome, Sav. It's awesome to see you. This is great. He's having a rough time right now. I'm not going to go into it, but Sav has a few slight health issues. I'm glad he's here. And thanks for giving us your time, and I hope you stay for as long as you need. And heal up, my friend. Heal up. Next up, we had Oscar nominations.
Yes.
We had some nominations that we will get into in the last segment. But what's really telling is that horror never does well at the Oscars, ever.
No.
I mean, looking back at everything from, say, a Midsommar to a Hereditary, those movies should have gotten Oscar love, specifically for the lead performances. Well, now we got it. Horror takes over the Oscars with The Substance and Nosferatu, and a visual effects nom for Alien Romulus. What do you think about this? Why do you think it's The Substance and not something like a Midsommar or a Nosferatu getting all these big awards? Why is it The Substance with 6 nominees, specifically for a Best Picture and a Best Actress nomination?
I mean, specifically with The Substance, I think because it's addressing, it has a social commentary within there, and it is really, it's a deeper story. And I'm not going to knock Nosferatu because I loved Nosferatu. But that is, even though it's an original adaptation that Robert Eggers, took the Nosferatu story, Bram Stoker's, messed them all together and then did his own thing. It's something we've seen before. Mm-hmm. Substance, yes, we've seen body horror before. And this was a callback to some of the gnarliest ones. But I think it's also the bravery of the storytelling, of the content itself, the actors in there to do these roles, and then the poignancy of the message at its core. And I mean, it stunned people. It grossed people out. I just rewatched it last week and loved it all over again. And so I think it's time. I mean, I'm hesitant on, or at least skeptical, not hesitant. I'm skeptical on whether or not this will win anything necessarily. I mean, Toni Collette should have won hands down for Hereditary. Anyway, that's my favorite horror movie. So, but this, it's nice. It's great to see some horrors, especially with 2024 being so huge in the horror genre. I mean, we feasted so well on this, and I'm glad at least it's getting some love. It's getting some notice because it's been just that stepchild that's left over in the corner unduly. So
Every single year, it seems like there's one horror performance that goes underlooked. And for many, many years, I have a friend and lots of friends who thinks that Mia Goth should have been up for a Best Actress for X and Pearl.
mm.
What do you think about that compared to what we had more doing in this film? Because this performance is a lot different, and it's a lot more outgoing in a different way than, say, X was, because she has to give her whole body to it and also share the spotlight with a younger actress who's trying to take her place. Why do you think they went for this performance and not a performance like a Goth gave us?
That's curious. I don't know. I mean, like I wouldn't from X, I wouldn't have put Mia Goth in the running, but for Pearl, even though I don't think that movie was as strong, her performance was outstanding because she was given the opportunity to really take central stage for the majority of it. I mean, golly, even just that one monologue that's unbroken, that's just sitting on her, that's uncomfortable and delivered so brilliantly. I don't know. It could just be time, that the Academy hears so many grumblings year after year, and they get louder and louder because that we're tired of it being overlooked. You have just these what I would consider some like snob films. You know what I mean? Which deserve. There's nothing wrong with these. I mean, they're great movies also. But when you only have these art house type films in some of the big categories, not the like at the Golden Globes, the most popular one. I mean, that's just a throwaway category. It's ridiculous. And even now with the Oscars including 10 best pictures, it's like, why? I mean, I get that. Sure, that's great that it opens it up. But we know that some of these are only to appease fans and to appease the grumblings so that people just don't go ham on actors or boycott things or whatever just because they get some stick up their butt. But yeah, I don't know.
From what I've heard, and I think this might be it, what the Oscars have been doing the past couple of years is what they're calling the comeback award. So something like Everything Everywhere, the comeback award of actors who had a major comeback in one phenomenal film. This could be the same thing with More, but not saying that More could win it, because we've only had one awards body so far. We still have the Critics' Choice, the SAGs, and the BAFTAs. We'll see what happens there. But I think it's very telling that horror is getting this much love, specifically this year, because, sure, with Nosferatu, it's a Robert Eggers film. His past, The Witch and The Lighthouse was up for one Oscar apiece, and that was for the cinematography. What's telling about this is that they're looking at horror in a different light because it's a new academy, adding all these new voters in there, all these new members. I think that's very telling that horror is getting this much love, and I love to see it. I love horror in a specific way. It's not my favorite genre, but for many years, I've seen performances in horror movies where I'm like, that was much better than, say, this performance here. But they're getting younger. It's no longer the 90-year-old man who wants his black and white silent film with a slap and come here, Shaw. No, we are out of that now. We are into the blood, guts, and boobs era of the Oscars now. Literally this year.
Yeah.
Or if we take a look at the big discussion was the visual effects, which I am now calling this year the year of the monkey, with the Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, Wicked, and The Better Man. I mean, the Oscars are changing for the better. I'm glad it's with horror. Maybe at some point we can get another horror film up for Best Picture, because now we actually have The Substance, which actually has a decent chance. We'll see. I think its best opportunity to win an Oscar right now is probably Best Actress and maybe makeup, because the makeup in that was...
Oh, those practical effects were just gnarly.
They were gnarly. and I have not wanted to look at shrimp since that movie. But
Oh, that was probably one of the most horrifying scenes in the entire thing. I mean, it's just right. Oh my gosh.
mm.
Ugh. Mm.
And as somebody who is deathly allergic to all seafood, I don't like shrimp anyways. So that made me even less likely to want that shrimp. Mm. And anyways, guys, watch The Substance if you haven't. Get Mubi, or right now, if you're a physical media person like I am, buy the Blu-ray and 4K at Walmart. The Blu-ray is $17. The 4K is $25. Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. Do you think that the Oscars are taking a new leaf? And why did horror take over this year out of all years? Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. We have one comment that just popped up, and this is coming to us from Sav. I like the horror of the 70s, 80s, and 90s. That was a golden era. I mean, with the 70s, that was the first time a major horror film was up for Best Picture with The Exorcist. And it didn't win it, but it was up there. And it's probably one of the most terrifying films I will never see. I've seen the necessary scenes of the Exorcist, but the Exorcism films just aren't my thing. But I love those old horror films as well. Even going back to, I think it was 1932, with the first horror film being Jekyll and Hyde, was up for a few awards at that Oscars. Another comment from Sav. The Substance is a great movie. It's a fantastic movie. One of the most disturbing, disgusting, and yet sexiest movies of the year.
I don't know about sexiest. I don't know about that. But I mean, yeah, definitely disturbing and gross.
But moving on to the next topic, away from horror for just a little bit, this is going to take us into the MCU. We have a movie opening up on Valentine's Day, and this can go one of two ways. The marketing has done some decent things. It's also done some other things. We've had some rumors that Captain America Brave New World had a budget of $300 million. That was coming to us from worldofreal.com. World of Real has also stated that the Wicked movie was made for $370 million each film. They got that wrong, and it's $370 million for both films. So they've been wrong on some things, right on some things. But the Captain America 4 budget has been revealed. The budget has been revealed, and so have the box office numbers. This is very intriguing, because taking a look at this is coming to us from comicbook.com. The Brave New World budget is reportedly entirely unexpected. It cost around $180 million. I don't know why that jumped. That's great. Oh, well. $180 million. And that's less than many of the other MCU films. But it's right in there with The Winter Soldier, which made a decent amount, but Civil War boasted a $250 million budget. How do you think this one was going to do with that type of a budget? And do you see it being a massive hit? Because looking at what it has to do, $180 million, so you have to at least double that. But then again, you have the marketing budget. On the slight end, lower end, I'd probably say 50, 75 million. Taking out the third of what the theaters take in, I'd say this film has to at least make $500 million to break even. What do you think is going to happen with Captain America 4?
You know, I don't know. I mean, I'm very curious because I've heard of like a lot of reshoots that had to happen. I mean, the marketing is beginning to ramp up now, which fair enough. I mean, we're a couple weeks out, and that's when you would really expect it to. I don't know how much of a buzz is around this. I still feel like you hear the grumblings of burnout, you know, because the Marvel projects haven't been awesomely received the past several times. You know, outings, whether that's a TV show or in the theaters. And some of them, I think, like especially the theaters, they got just a shaft and the raw end of the deal because the movies were decent and fun. But this one, don't know. It's strange with the amount of CGI that they've got in it, that and just the effects, that it's so low, that it's one of the lowest ones. I mean, I I don't know. I hope it does well. I mean, I liked what was it, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, that series. I like Sam as the new Captain America. I think that's great. I think that'll be, I love that direction of the story. We'll see. I like how they handled, if they keep it in. I mean, I saw it in a teaser trailer or whatever, but the way that they've handled moving from, what is it, William Hurt to Harrison Ford, and about the mustache and how it changes. You know what? That's great. It's one line and it answers it, and you move on. Good to go there. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not massively excited to see this. It's also interesting that it's coming out on Valentine's Day. This is not your traditional type of Valentine's Day, other than Red Hulk.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe it'll be a lot of single guys going to see this because they just don't have anybody else. But to label it as just a guys movie, I think is way too narrow-minded, because a lot of everybody can enjoy a movie like this. So who knows?
Where I think might happen is we have another movie opening on that same day, and it's more of a family-friendly film in Paddington in Peru. The Paddington movies don't make massive money, but they make friendly fare here in the States. He's more of a UK guy, but here in the States, I think that's more of a date movie than a action-packed Red Hulk film. But what I'm thinking is it's going to be a decent film, as long as it's decent. That's all I care about. Don't give me a Ant-Man 3. Don't give me a... Now, I liked the half of the Marvels. I liked half of that. But don't give me the Disney Plus style of MCU. Sure. Give me the Winter Soldier. Give me a decent little thriller, because this does not have big, massive characters. Because Cap was Steve Rogers for all these years, and a lot of people who I know haven't even seen the Disney Plus series, and a lot of people don't know that he is Cap, which they might go in and go, hey, why is Steve Rogers not here? And they'll be like, well, hey, yada yada yada, everyone who has seen it. But I think there's a shot it makes a good bit of money, but I don't know. I think the bottom tier, I think it makes 400 million minimum, because right now the box office tracking is looking at 90 to 95 million dollars.
Mm-hmm.
Doing that double overseas, maybe a little bit more overseas, you only need about another 200 million dollars, and it's not opening everywhere overseas on that same weekend. But all I can say is, to quote one of my favorite films, does it have a shot to make a good bit of money?
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Maybe. I'm hoping. I want it to, but you never know. Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. What do you think about Captain America 4's budget, and what do you think it's going to make at the box office? Are you excited for it, or are you going to be like me and having to fight with my single self, besides seeing a double feature of Marvel and Paddington, or going and seeing a talking bear and being comforted in a British accent? Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below, and let me know your thoughts. Going into the comments, we have a newcomer to the channel. I wonder if there will be a product placement if they got the British money like in Captain Marvel, because they have the British characters. Disney finds ways to make money. Maybe, but I mean, it's taking place here in the States, so maybe. I'm not sure how to answer that, man. Sav says, "Oh, it's great. It's great to have you here, man, and I hope to see you on the next show. Get well and give me a lot of updates, man. It's awesome to see you." Mr. Cocoa Nuts. To be fair, since COVID, a lot of the franchises have struggled. Yes, the the Fast and the Furious, that was because they outrageously bumped up their budget to over $375 million.
But come on, it's family.
And I'll say this: a lot of families didn't go and support their family. Me, I did. I mean, I hold that very close to me. The Fast and Furious is a franchise. As a critic, they're not good movies.
No.
Specifically the last two. But as a man, I like seeing shit go boom and fast cars. So when I'm there, when I'm in my theater watching a car film, as long as a car goes fast and shit goes boom, I have a smile on my face the entire time, and my critic brain is turned off. I just can't. I can't. There's very few things where I can do that with, and it's mostly a musical and a action-packed car film. But a lot of those, yes, they've made money with the DCU. It's because the movies haven't been good.
Yeah.
They gave up. And now with James Gunn, we know James Gunn. We know what he can do. We saw the Suicide Squad. We've seen Peacemaker. We've seen what he can do with smaller characters. I mean, look what he did with the Guardians of the Galaxy. Nobody knew who they were. Nobody knew until that first film came out. It made almost $700 to $800 million with Chris Pratt, who is known for Parks and Recreation, and Dave Bautista, who went from the wrestling ring to go play Drax.
Yeah.
Nobody knew. It's all word of mouth. So the DCU, yes, with Mission Impossible, that got the short end of the stick because that came out a couple weeks before Barbenheimer.
Yeah.
And
that was unfortunate.
Yeah. It was a damn good movie. It was a really good movie. The issue was the IMAX screens got taken away because of Oppenheimer and Barbie. And a lot of the films that came out then tanked because of Oppenheimer and Barbie. Mm-hmm. I mean, sure, you had 3 fantastic films, but with Barbie making over $1.4 billion and Oppenheimer almost cracking $1 billion, Mission Impossible should have done the smart thing and either pushed it forward or moved it ahead, because that movie was done 3 months before the film came out. It was fully done. So I think it could have been maybe a March, April film, and you would have been fine. But there was that. I look forward to seeing what happens with the new film, with The Last Reckoning, because that looks great. It looks sweet. We'll see if it's his last film, because if it makes $700 to $800 million, he's coming back for another one. And he will go to the moon. I wouldn't put it past him to fly a ship to the moon himself, because Tom Cruise can literally do anything. He's more of a man than I will ever be. Moving on to the next topic, guys. We have a brand new scary movie coming out. Woo.
Yeah. That's kind of the thing. Yeah. Yeah.
The first scary movie was decent.
Yeah, it was fun.
But what have the Wayans brothers done since? I mean, he has I think Damon Wayans has a sitcom with his son on CBS. It's doing quite well. But besides that, we had the last big thing was White Chicks. That was actually decent. And then the Haunted House films. 50 Shades of Black, anybody? But yay, we have a release date announcement. I am so excited.
Well, and we're in a different time now. Satire, it has taken on a different face. The satires now are more thinking. They're more pointed. And these movies have their place. I mean, good Lord, even like Airplane, the Naked Gun series, these types of things, those were awesome. They were spectacular. They were hilarious. They are still funny. But they were. That was the time that they were set in. Now, I'm afraid that this is just going to come across as cringy and trying too hard.
What I'm scared of is one of two things. There's one big thing that's going to hinder it, and we will take a look at what comes out around that same time, because there are a lot of big movies coming around that same time. But what's going to hurt this is, what are they going to parody? I mean, you have The Black Phone, Megan. You could do a version of Art the Clown if you wanted to, but Art the Clown is already funny in his dark, sadistic way. So whatever he does is going to be 7 times funnier than what the Wayans brothers do in this film. What I'm scared of for them as well is, let's take a look at what comes out around the same time, because this isn't going to make anything at the box office. This is coming to us from Movie Insider. So the movie's coming out June 12th. We have Masters of the Universe on the 5th. June 12th, we have an untitled film from the Daniels. This is the big one here. Toy Story 5 and Supergirl come out 2 weeks from it. What's going to make this is, does it have a place in R-rated comedy? Because a lot of R-rated comedies haven't done all that well. But what's also telling is, my God, coming down here, Minions 3, Moana, The Odyssey, Spider-Man, Paw Patrol. Are people really going to want to go and see these movies in theaters? See a Scary Movie 6? Or are they going to want to save their money for a Spider-Man? And I mean, sure, the Paw Patrol films aren't our fare, but god dang, if those movies don't make money in the theater for their budgets, and especially my theater, which is only two auditoriums, and we play a lot of family fare, and she makes bank on them. What's going to hurt that is what's even coming out that's going to give it any shot of making any money. And how high do you think this budget can go? I mean, for a spoof comedy, you can't do it for any more than, I'd say, $20 million.
No. And then, so that almost guarantees that you don't have any cameos of big people. You know, I don't know. I'm not sure who asked for this, first off. Why now? And yeah, my guess is that this is going to be very quickly in the theater and then out of the theater and then on demand and then on streaming within a very, very short period of time, because I don't see the demand for this at all with any of the generations. I mean, who are they trying to hit with this?
I mean, they were funny back in the day. I mean, when you were doing the Scream films, or my favorite is The Exorcist one in 2, where they're just spitting up and puking all over the walls, all over them, because that was dark humor. It was dark, gross out humor. Now, you don't get a whole lot of the gross out humor. The most graphic piece of comedy I've seen in the last probably 7 years was in Blockers, in a gross out spot with the butt chugging scene and the Gary Coleman scene where they're spying on him. I think it's Gina Gershon. I think it's those two, and they're looking in the window, and John Cena can't look away from his man part. That was in 2018, and even that felt 20 years too late. Now, Scary Movie will have its fans, don't get me wrong. But now, those fans have grown up. They've gotten 20 years older, and they're not as spry and outgoing as they once were when the first ones came out. Because I guarantee you, being 26 years old, my family did not sit my butt down to watch a Scary Movie.
No.
My family was The Mask, a Dumb and Dumber, an Adam Sandler film, a Disney film. These were made for their time. I guarantee you this won't make almost any money. It might make $20 million worldwide, but I mean, that's being very generous. I don't know who asked for it. I'm going to completely agree with you, and there's no place on the schedule for it to make any money.
No.
At all.
No, this would have been, had this come out in like, well, I was going to say January, but we've actually had some decent movies in January. So, you know, like they need to find a month where nothing's going on and dump it there, like August, you know, and I don't even know what's coming out in August this year, but you know, right in that little dead time before a lot of families go back to school and, you know, summer's kind of winding down there, something like that. And maybe you could get a couple of weeks of half decent attendance, but I still don't think it's going to matter when they drop it. It's going to just tank anyway.
I completely agree with you. Oh, yep. And this comment here says it best. Those films flamed out pre-2010s. Yes.
Yep.
And even then, they were pushing it to the very end with Meet the Spartans. They were pushing it to the very, very end, and they tried with Scary Movie 5. That made no money. And it was absolutely awful. I mean, you might be able to get a Charlie Sheen cameo for pretty cheap now.
Yeah, but who's that attracting?
Yeah, exactly. But let us know your thoughts. Are you excited for a Scary Movie 6? Probably not, but I'm asking you that anyways. I'm super excited to see the Wayans brothers back on screen because at least they're working. At least they are giving us some sort of a comedy that might work. It could surprise us. It could be the best one since the first one. Not saying a whole lot, but what do you guys think? Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. Going into the next topic. This is one I really wanted to bring up because I've been in a lot of discussions with the Oscar people. A lot of people were upset with the Oscar nominations. So, before we get into this, what do you think about Emilia Perez getting 13 nominations? And before I go into the numbers, do you think that having the most number of nominations means a single thing for you winning the Best Picture Oscar in a good majority of years?
You would think it would, right? Because it's if you get an actor and a supporting character in like cinematography or story, something like that, if all of these are winning, why wouldn't it get Best Picture also? Because you're talking about all of these elements that went into the story. I haven't seen for the Oscars, I have not seen all of the movies that are nominated. There's only 3 that I think that I have not seen yet. And Emilia Perez shouldn't even be in this list.
No.
Now the singing was great, especially Zoe Saldana. She was like, I was just blown away by her performance in this. I think the story at its core had a decent message to it. The problem is that it got, after about the first half of it, it didn't know what it was going to be then. It was just all over the place and couldn't choose a social commentary that it wanted to stick with. And what that ended up doing is making all of the story elements just watered down and confused and lackluster. And so to see this, and it's funny too, because this has Best Picture nominee, but also Best Foreign Language film from France, which in and of itself makes me laugh because, you know, it's all in Mexico, but it's a French production. But anyway, that's just my own little warped sense of humor there. But I mean, okay, sure. If you want to put it into the foreign language category, okay. I just don't think that it stands with a lot of the other ones. Looking at the list, I don't think this is nearly as strong of an entry. And well, unfortunately, I think it has a good chance of winning just because of all of the attention it got at the Golden Globes.
I have a lot of people who know that I love the Oscars. It's literally my favorite day of the entire year is Oscar Sunday. It's my Super Bowl, and I'm a football fan. One thing that a lot of people think is that the most number of nominations always wins. I have a couple things to prove otherwise. One is The Lord of the Rings and the Fellowship of the Ring. They were up for 11 Oscars. They won 4. Dune, the first Dune, was up for 11 Oscars and it won 6. It didn't win Best Picture that year. These two are the biggest ones that I can think of going, okay, here's what we need to do. But before we take a look at these, there's a couple things that all the Oscars, like 80% of them, have done. To win the Best Picture, you need to have either a leading actor or a supporting actor, director, or one of the screenplays. One of those, two of those 5 to even be considered for the Best Picture. So let's take a couple of these out now. Dune is gone. As much as it hurts my heart, Wicked is gone.
I agree. It kills me, but yes.
It was my favorite movie of the entire year. I've seen it a couple of times, and it hurts my heart. But, I mean, we can obviously say that some of the smaller ones, like, say, a Nickel Boys, that's gone. It has no director. So that's gone. No acting in it. It's gone. What are the 2 instances that really speak to me about here's why the most awards doesn't mean anything? Because yes, you might be up for a lot of awards, but going back to the 2012 Oscars, we had these 2. Hugo is up for 11 awards and won 5. Sound editing, sound mixing, art direction, visual effects, and cinematography. The winner that year was obviously The Artist, a silent French film. Best Picture, Director, Actor, Score, Costume Design. There was no screenplay, but you had director and you had actor there. What really helps you nowadays is also editing. So whatever wins the editing Oscar, that's also a third bet. So if, say, Perez does win the editing Oscar, that gives a better shot. But with the director being pretty much locked with The Brutalist, and the screenplays mostly locked, I don't know if this is a great shot. What is really shocking to me was the biggest Oscars of all time that took it over the edge for the amount of surprise, La La Land, with 14 nominations, winning 6. Best Actress, Director, Score, Song, Production Design, and Cinematography. But Moonlight, which nobody expected anything from at that Oscars, was nominated for 8 and won 3. Best Picture, Supporting Actor, and Screenplay. It's that actor and screenplay that matters. If you have an actor or actress, you had it. Oppenheimer swept the Oscars with 7 of them, including the screenplay, including a supporting actor, including the big one in director. This year, if Cotillard wins this, I will be very surprised, because the amount of love it's getting from the Golden Globes, I see why they did it. They're the Golden Globes. They're the Hollywood Foreign Press.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, they're going to push the foreign stuff because they're writing for foreign publications. So with what happens at the SAGs, right? If we see a shift, the Critics' Choice are first. So if the critics decide, say, to give it to a Grande for Best Supporting Actress, that could start a turn. If the SAGs do it, that could start a turn. What's really telling is, what does the BAFTAs do? Because the BAFTAs really loved Wicked, but they liked Emilia Perez just as much. What's going to tell us the most is what starts to pick up steam. With only the Golden Globes and a couple of the critic circles, yes, those matter a little bit. But the Golden Globes mean as much as this light here to a lot of people, because it's about just a few hundred people voting, where the Oscars is over 10,000 people voting for the Best Picture. I'm looking forward to this because this has been the most unpredictable Oscars we've had in years. There's a lot of people upset about multiple nominations, but what's really going to be interesting is if we get more than 3 or 4 wins for Emilia Perez, because I think it has the supporting actress down as of right now. Zoe might sweep. I think it should go to Ariana Grande, but it's automatically going to win the best song. It's winning the best foreign film, so that's 3. But going back in history, there's only been a couple films that have even won the foreign language Oscar and the Best Picture. That was Parasite. Every other one, Roma was the front runner that year, and Roma didn't even win it. And Roma was playing everywhere. Everybody loved Roma. That didn't win Best Picture. If you win that award, you have a shot at the Oscar. But you also have a scary contender in I'm Still Here with a lead actress up there for a nomination. Fernanda Torres, if she wins that, that even has a chance to be the Best Picture. We don't know what's going to happen. We will see, but I'm telling you guys, the most nominations doesn't mean anything. Going back to the Lord of the Rings, to a La La Land, to a Hugo, which when that came out, everyone said, "Oh, sure, that's going to be a good film." The artist, everyone automatically went, "That's Best Picture." Who makes a silent film in 2011? Who makes it that good?
Yeah. Well, I'm curious also to see when People's Choice Awards come out, to see where audiences really landed, because I can almost guarantee many of these movies that are in these categories will not even be anywhere on the radar.
No. If you were to take out, what would you put in over this particular film? If you took Emilia Perez out, what was the film that you would have put in there as the 10th slot?
Selfishly, I would put in Longlegs, because I thought that was just a phenomenal film. But let me see here. Let me go back into my list here. That probably no, that one I can't see that one actually doing it. I would have liked to have seen maybe Strange Darling. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean, Civil War was good also. But I think it takes place, it released too early in the year, and then it became too divisive. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I like some of these entries though. I mean, Honora was phenomenal. Complete Unknown, outstanding. Conclave, massive surprise, but outstanding. Again, Substance and Wicked, yes, please, both of those, love it. So,
if I had to pick one, it would have to be Challengers, which I think that Zendaya should have been up for a Best Actress because she carried that film. But the score, the cinematography should have been up for more.
Why did Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross get snubbed for that is, I mean, talk about a character within the film.
Yep.
To use that music was it was hypnotic, and oh my gosh, yeah, I don't understand that one, especially when you give Emilia Perez 2 entries into original song. Okay. Yep.
And when that happens, we know it's winning something because we saw it with last year with Barbie and La La Land in past years. So, but this year, I have to say I'm really glad that they are not doing any of the performances on air, because this year my pick for the best song wasn't even nominated, but it's okay. I'm not holding any grudges against the Oscars for not putting in Kiss the Sky from The Wild Robot. I'm holding a little grudge. But that should have been up for best song. I think you should have done Ain't No Love in Oklahoma from the Twisters movie. That was a massive hit. You would get massive numbers to see Luke Combs perform that live at the Oscars. Mm-hmm. But this year, there's no song that's like a City of Stars or a I'm Just Ken or what was I made for. There's no big song that's going to stick with you for many years to come. I mean, I still love I'm Just Ken because I am so great at doing stuff myself. But I love the Oscars. I don't know why it got 13 nominations, but Emilia Perez got 13 nominations. Are you guys happy with it? Tomorrow's show, my buddy Kyle and I will be going into every single detail of the Oscar. It'll be a full 2 hours of us just picking apart every film, every moment, what we would have changed, what we think should win, will win, everything else. So stay tuned for that tomorrow. But that's the full Oscars show. What do you think is going to happen at the Oscars? Are you excited for it? Do you agree with me that having the most nominations doesn't necessarily mean everything? I mean, many, many years we've had different films take it for different reasons.
Yep.
But we will see. Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. We have one comment before we go into the last one, and it's my buddy. Hey, Michael, it's awesome to see you. I know you're probably getting ready to watch SmackDown very, very soon. This is the topic that I added just for today because I've been a fan of your stuff for a long time, man. I started watching you when you were back at like 500.
Oh, dude, I'm sorry. Those are terrible reviews.
We all are terrible at the very beginning, but then we get our groove. Get our groove. Yes. We know what we're doing. What I think is so awesome about you is because I watch a lot of critics, a lot of reviewers. You're very different with your type of views. With a lot of people, they add in a lot of the jokes and everything, like film clips from different films. Like I do because I just do it because why not, right?
Alrighty then.
But we have to. It's part of our shtick. What made you want to become a critic? But first, we're gonna get to know Chris from Movies and Munchies. What made you want to become a YouTube film critic?
Oh, goodness. I almost went back and got my master's in film and TV criticism. But I decided I didn't want to go back to school even more, so I didn't. But I have, for a long, long time, really enjoyed dissecting movies and watching them in different ways and finding the messages and the meanings. My wife and I have done this for as long as we have been together, which is over 30 years. We raised our kids that way also, to look at the deeper messages and to just, to have a lot more fun with it. It ruins some of the watching experience sometimes because you're so detailed into something, but that doesn't mean that we can't turn our brains off and just enjoy. And we do. I love a lot of terrible movies, and unabashedly, I love them. And that's, fine, whatever. It's not from I can acknowledge that the movie might be terrible, or from a critical standpoint, this is everything that's wrong with it, but I still have fun with it and I still love it. So I was working in radio, for a long time, and was helping one of the DJs do movie reviews. And I just thought, you know what, this might be fun. And so it just sat in the back of my head for a while. And I kick myself now that I didn't start doing it then, because it was probably, oh gosh, maybe 5 or 6 years before I actually started doing it. And I had a buddy who he had started a channel just a month or two before me, and he was talking about it and everything. And where, I was like, why don't I do this? Why, if I don't think I could go pro at this, I don't think I could quit my job ever, but wouldn't that be awesome if I could? Because always my dream job has been a snack food taste testing movie reviewer. That I literally, like, I joked about it, but and you could never say that in a job interview, because what that says to everybody is that you're a fat, lazy slob, that you just want to sit around and eat and watch TV. And yes, that's exactly what I want to do. That's all I want to do. I've worked a lot and I'm tired and I'm done and I just want to have fun. But I decided to just give it a go, to try it. My first outing for a couple of them, I actually started making snacks and filming it. And then I very quickly learned that is unsustainable. Because to set up all the lights and the camera and everything else in the kitchen, just to get a couple of shots that I could use, took way longer than it should have. And then it's not like I have a professional kitchen that we don't use, or I have a separate set or something like that. So I had to clear all that crap out so that we could make dinner, Yep. so that went by the wayside very quickly. But yeah, it's still a dream that at some point I can get to a point where this becomes sustainable from a money-making standpoint, that I don't have to go to a regular 9-to-5 job, which I have and I do. Which I love also. I mean, it's not like I'm trying to escape from that, but I think if everybody could do only what they want to do versus what they need to do, then we would all do, what we want to do. And this is something that brings me a lot of pleasure. And yeah, don't look at any of my old videos. Good Lord. Those are, I keep them there and I watch them every once in a while, because it is a good, humbling experience. To, if I ever start to get any type of too big for my britches, any type of inflated head, I can go back to those and go, oh, good Lord. Wow. You sucked. And how in the world did anybody even stay to watch you? And, and that's a good thing. I never want to forget that. I never want to forget the moment I got 100 subscribers, the time when a video got 100 views. Good Lord, that was awesome. You know what I mean? 100 people sat down and chose to watch this thing. It was awesome. And so these types of little things, which may not mean, much to anybody else, but to me, they're those special things, and they're the things that I never want to forget, because that's where I was. And if I look at myself and get all high and mighty because I have a certain number of subscribers, well, then I suck as a person. Yeah. Because that is not cool. You know what I mean? If you have 5 subscribers and you only ever have 5 subscribers and you love what you're doing, then rock and roll, keep doing it. Enjoy the crap out of that. And it doesn't even matter. It's because while it's cool, and that I do have a goal of making, of getting more subscribers become sustainable, that's the only thing that really the benefits outside of a financial thing is I get to chat with more and more people, and I get to reach people and have conversations with people in vastly different parts of the world. Yep. And that has been spectacular, to hear different commentary and different opinions and everything, because come on, it's movies and TV. I am not operating on anybody's brain. I'm not saving any lives with what I do. I might save you a couple of bucks, maybe, but that's it. That is so inconsequential in life. So I understand what it is I'm doing. You know what I mean? And so I have fun, and I want other people to have fun. I love interacting in the comments, especially with people that are fun, that are funny, that that can go back and forth. If you get just so offended because I liked a movie that you didn't like, okay, I
Great.
how why dude, move on. Don't waste your time. I'm nobody. You know what I mean? So yeah, there you go. That's that probably didn't answer and answered some of the things. I don't know. Rambling.
Well, for me, really, I've been watching a lot of film critic stuff ever since like 2010, 2011. And my first was probably a Chris Stuckman video. But then I went into the greats. And personally, my favorite is the best critics of all time in Gene Siskel and Roger Ebert. They were the best two to go back and forth.
Oh, yeah.
But they did it in a way where they were both respectful, but the biggest dicks in the world. But they knew how to talk to each other with the utmost just human way. I mean, there's a lot of ways that you can go, you're wrong because of this and this and this, and you suck as a person. Instead, they went, you're talking like a sophisticated film critic there, Gene. Stop it. So for me, they were a huge inspiration. And 2015, 2016, I went, you want to know what? I'm just going to try it. I look back at those videos, they were not good. I had, I'll tell you what it was. I had a small little track phone, smaller than this dude, and it had no front-facing camera. So all I had to do was face the video. I faced the camera down, and I put the poster in front of my Kindle there, and I said, I reviewed this. And I just did the whole spiel. And then eventually I got a little bit of money, and I went, I need one with the front-facing camera to do better videos.
So you can see yourself too, right?
Yeah. Because I'm looking down and my neck was fucking killing me. I'm like, dude, I'm filming 8 reviews and I'm looking down at my Kindle.
And I hope I'm in frame.
Yeah. But then I look back at those, and I look back at myself from 2019 to 2021, 2022, and from that time, I was watching myself, and I'm like, dude, you're so unhealthy. And over time, everybody went, dude, we're so proud of you because I was losing weight. And if you look back, my face was out to here. It was out to here. I was 80 pounds heavier. And I kept up with that. I'm like, this is a motivation here. So then that happened. Getting to 500 subscribers was a massive thing. I mean, 500 people liked my stupid content enough of me facing a camera down with a Kindle there to watch my crap. But now it has evolved to this is a big number to me. 1,200 people have stayed around this long.
That should be celebrated, dude. That is no, it is crazy. It always baffles me that any amount of people chose to hit a button and sometimes watch something that I put out. I mean, I'm amazed, And at other times I'm like, well, they also watch ants walking through just a pile of poo. So, videos are out there for everything. But still, outside of that, I mean, it's awesome, isn't it? It's such a great feeling to be like, dude, that's really cool. That, in these personal milestones, that's what's so great.
Exactly.
No, go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
In my channel, this is a side thing. My core audience is the Hallmark people. So they watch the Hallmark movies. And me and my friends started a podcast that we thought would go nowhere. We literally thought we will just sit here and talk about a Hallmark movie. Well, then we got a big head And I'm like, wait a minute. I know a couple of people who make them. Maybe I can get them on for interviews. And now that's evolved. And we're interviewing the filmmakers, the actors, the actresses. And now we're like a name in the Hallmark space because we get to talk to actors and everybody who make them. To other people, you get to talk to celebrities. And I'm like, we're like that for a little bit. But what other people don't know is before we do each interview, those actors and everybody thinks once they pop on screen that we're live and on video right then and there. And we like it that way because they are so genuine. Mm-hmm. And before that, we're just doing the same old spiel and we get to know them. What they don't know is they're just as nervous as you are to talk to them. All the actors, all the directors are just as nervous to talk to you because they don't know what you're going to say. And they don't know what they are going to say to your questions. So with that, yeah, I get to talk to some awesome people who make movies. Sure, they are a celebrity. But the thing is, they're just people like you and I. Mm-hmm. They're people like you and I. They have lives. This is a job. Sure, sometimes they get to go to a far-off land and film in a castle to make a Christmas movie. But what our podcast gets everybody to realize is, you know, when you're watching a movie like a say for a new one, like a Hot Frosty. That was shot up in Canada. They shot that during the summer, during a heat wave. So they're wearing big heavy coats, acting like it's freaking freezing outside. And those late night shoots are awful because up in Canada, it can go from 90 degrees to 45 degrees like that. And another one of my favorite stories is for a Great American Family film called A Royal in Paradise. They had this private island to themselves for 3 days, and they had to make it look like pure paradise. Reminder, 3 days. They needed 1 day. The first 2 days, it was pouring down rain and gray. Oh. And then the last day, they got a little bit of sun. They shot it during the winter, so it was cold on that beach. They had to make it feel like it was warm and magical because it was paradise. It was a summer-based film. This poor girl, Rhiannon Fish, is in a tank top and white dress pants. And this guy who's playing the prince is wearing a button-down shirt that is thinner than anything I've ever seen in my entire life. And they have to frolic through the water and be happy and everything. Mm. But then the worst nightmare of any filmmaker happens. The cinematographer was going into the water with a $100,000 camera, and they didn't know it because the wind was blowing them and the tide was reaching high tide right as they were filming. So it's those little things that you need to know. They are just people.
Yep.
They are people. And when you interview a celebrity, sometimes they become some of your best friends. I mean, literally. They are people.
They are, yeah.
Sure, some of the most stunning people on the planet Earth, but they are people. But every number is a big milestone. Even if you have one subscriber, that's one subscriber.
Absolutely.
But the thing is, everybody who wants to gain more subscribers, you see it in their face. You see it in their performance, I guess, on what they're doing in their videos. They want to do this. They have a passion for it. They love to do it. And what you and I are doing is because we love it. It's so much fun, and it's awesome stuff like this that we get to do. I get to talk to somebody I've been a fan of for God knows how long now. And I introduce my audience to your stuff. So this is good for both of us. But another thing to get to know you is you also have a live show.
Yes.
And that is on tomorrow morning. Yes, tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. East Coast time.
Yes.
So, how did you meet Ruben? And how did you guys come up with the live show idea? Or just, it wasn't live at first.
No.
First, it was a pre-recorded thing. And I would wake up on Sunday mornings before work, and I'm like, what the heck is this? It said 45 minutes. I'm like, what movie is he reviewing?
Yep.
And I went, Ruben. So tell us about that.
So Ruben from the Ruby Tuesday is a friend of mine. He's in the UK. And in 2019, I want to say it is, or 2020, I don't remember when, he reached out to me and was like, hey, do you want to do a collab? And I was very hesitant. First off, I don't know who this dude is. I'd never done a collaboration before at all. So I'm like, I don't even know what I'm doing here. This YouTube is stressful enough as it is. Now talking to a complete stranger is going to be weird, and I don't know. This is scary for me. Anyway, but my work schedule was like insane at that time, and so I pushed him off a couple of months, and then we did one, and I think the first thing we talked about was, what was it? Captain America? No, what is it? The one with the new Cap. What was that Disney Plus series? Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Falcon and Winter Soldier. Yep.
Yeah, I think that's what the first thing we did. And we talked about that. You know, we did a just one. I think on the finale, like we had done we just did a. It was sucked for me because it was like 2 a.m. My time because I had to stay up until midnight so that the episode dropped, and then I watched it, and then we hopped on like Zoom or something like that and recorded this back and forth. And then we decided, that was kind of fun. We'll do another one, and we did something else, and we then did, I don't know what it was, one or two other things that were minor, and I had this idea. You know what? We did a top 10 list, but I think we did the worst of, and then we did a best of. And I was thinking, you know what? It was a lot of fun to talk about the best. I mean, it can be fun in a fun way to kind of talk about the worst things, but also that didn't feel great because we were trashing on people's hard work, and it just didn't strike me as the thing that I wanted to do often, if at all, anymore. And so I hit him up and I was like, hey, I had this idea. What if we did a weekly show and it was the best thing we watched this week? And it was literally, it's whatever we want it to be. Sure. Is it going to be some new stuff, some current things? Absolutely. But if I watched some old movie and that was literally the best thing I watched, then why wouldn't we talk about it? And it just is different that way. And so we started out doing this, the pre-recorded videos. And so we would get up, record for 2.5 hours, something like that. We would then, hang up. I would spend the rest of Saturday editing it all down. And it took like forever. It was fun. I'm not knocking it or anything else, And so we did that. And we did that for a couple of years, doing it that way. And this last year, I had decided that I wanted to do some live broadcasts for the first time. I felt like after all of these years of doing YouTube, like, I think I might be okay doing a live. I don't know. We'll see. Because like you're saying, like talking with the actors and stuff, I don't know what's going to happen. That is terrifying. I can't edit. You know what I mean? It's just out there then. And so, oh, good. Okay, that was fun. I look like just a dork, and which I'm okay with looking like a dork, but I don't want to accidentally offend somebody, or, if somebody comes on and they say something really bad or something like that, I don't want that going out. But I just thought, you know what? So I invested in StreamYard, just the streaming platform like we're using right here, and said, hey, you know what? Let's try one. Let's see what this does. And before that a little bit, we had decided also to put our audio as a podcast, just for people who maybe didn't want to watch an hour and a half of something on YouTube, cool, whatever, and then listen as we go. Because it didn't really, I mean, it's talking heads, right? So you can listen to it as you cook, as you clean, as you pick up the dog poop. I mean, who knows? But yeah, so we just did that, and we continue to do the podcast part of it, but it's not anything that's like a big driver or anything. And this year, I think it was this year. No. Oh my gosh, it's been a year. 2024. We see this time. We decided to go do a live, and it was fun, and it also cut down on the editing time, which was even better. And so we have now transitioned to just a live show. Ruben's one of my best friends. We have known each other now for like 4.5 years, something like that. He's visited my home and stayed with me, and us. He and his wife came just last October-ish, October, and late October. Spent 2 weeks here, and so we just, we have a good time. And I think what's a lot of fun, and like you were talking about with Siskel and Ebert, Ruben and I don't always agree on the movies, and because we're friends, we can rib each other about our opinions, and not take it personally, because it's not, when I tell him he has a terrible taste in movies, or that was a terrible movie, how in the world could you like that? He knows I'm not talking really about him. I am just poking fun because of the friendship, Now, I could still believe that the movie is trash, and I don't understand how anybody likes it, yet he did. But hey, that's okay, But yeah, we just have this rapport back and forth, and it's good to see, different cultures. We both bring in different audiences. He watches a lot of different things that I do. He watches anime that I have some anime that I really enjoy. It's not very much. It's small. I prefer character-driven things. I love musicals. I even turned him on to horror movies. He was not really a horror movie watcher before. I mean, he'd seen them, but that's not something that he gravitated towards, And so it's good to go back and forth and to expand each other's world and just have a great time. And that's really all it is. It's us. For anybody watching, I mean, we have fun. We talk about our things and everything else, but really that's our weekly connection of seeing each other face to face. We chat during the week all the time. And just, sometimes it's for 2 minutes, sometimes it's for an hour, going back and forth, and maybe it's sharing memes or just asking what the other's doing, how they're doing, whatever. It doesn't really matter. I mean, it's truly, it's a friendship on different continents, and, it's a blast. And so if nobody was watching, well, that would be less fun live, but that's okay. We love chatting with people in the comments and stuff, but it's us back and forth. And
Exactly.
It's just like we're doing. I mean, I'm having a blast. This is fun. Just talking to somebody in another area of the country or the world, and getting to know them, and just having fun.
And my final question to get to know you,
yes,
is what made you want to do the Munchies thing with the films? Because a lot of people. I saw your last show, and one person was a little bit, why hasn't there been any Munchies? And I'm like, No,
it's a valid question. It's a valid question.
Food's expensive. I mean, eggs in my area are $9 a carton. I mean, hell.
Yeah. Well, and so going back to like my entire just like dream job, snack food taste testing movie reviewer, right? So I wanted to do something that was just fun for me. And again, it started out as I was going to make things. It's a stupid idea for me. I'm not going to do that. I mean, I like to cook and I like to make fun stuff, but that is way too much work. And so, and I wanted something that I had a huge list of names for the channel, and that's when I came up with one of them that stood out to me the most was Movies and Munchies. When I can, I try and get something new to me, at least some kind of snack, not just your normal, like, hey, look, it's Oreos. Everybody's had an Oreo. That's uninteresting, right? And so it's not always easy, first off, to find something that I think is even interesting or worthy to anybody else to spend that extra 2.5 minutes watching me eat something. Um, which I now put them at the end because I know that, you know what, people that don't care about that, they just tune out and they get to see the review and we're good to go. And if they do, awesome. What I also try and do, because my daughter-in-law thought it was hilarious, is eating things on camera for the first time, like tasting them that way, because there have been some not good things at all. Some just, it's been more bad than good, unfortunately. But yeah, you know, and so I want to do more of that. I'm trying to incorporate more of that this year. Ruben just yesterday via Amazon Fresh sent me a grocery bag full of snacks.
Oh.
Some of these I'm excited for. Some of these I might vomit on camera. It is disgusting. And so we'll see, but that probably tomorrow, you will get to see some of that. I don't know if I'm going to do all of them all at once, because that I just can't bring myself to do that. And I'm like, there's a couple that I really, really do not want to put in my mouth. So like, I'm afraid to even open it because I think I might throw up. So,
I remember one time, I went to some store and I went, my parents love to try different snacks. So I got my mom, I think it was a blueberry muffin Kit Kat, and she said it was the best thing she's ever tasted candy wise. So then I'm like, let's try some chips. Okay. So I found these new Pringles. They were brand new, just came out that day, and they were Philly cheesesteak. My dad put one in his mouth, and he goes, holy fucking shit. What the hell is that flavor? I said, it's supposed to be a Philly cheesesteak, and he goes, did it get crapped out of an elephant's anus first and then cooked? Yeah, and I'm like, oh, great. So I'm glad I spent $2.50 so you can try the snack.
The one chip.
One chip out of this whole can, and I opened that thing. It smelled like garbage. I mean, the can smelled awful. But then there's been some different ones. Like one was a Pringles sweet potato and ranch flavor.
Ugh.
That was okay. It was interesting.
Oh, I'm sure it was. Those are two things that don't go in my mouth, though. I don't eat ranch dressing, and I don't eat sweet potatoes. So, no.
No. And that was called a harvest blend. And I went, harvest blend, okay. So I found out the difference with the harvest blend is it's more of a corn-based chip than a potato chip. So imagine a tortilla chip with ranch, all that mixed together into one chip. That was a lot. It was a choice. I mean, I'm sure they made a little bit of money off of it, but for some reason, my Walmart still sells some of the harvest blends, but that one's gone now. God bless them.
Yeah. You should tell your mom key lime pie Kit Kats are actually pretty good.
She tried those.
Okay.
She tried I believe it's called the chocolate frosted donut.
I did not enjoy that one. My daughter got that for me, and I was like, I know what they're going for.
Yeah.
But for me, it wasn't one to keep.
No. Her favorite one is the mint chocolate chip one, and we only get those at one place in the state of Ohio. It's only in one place, and it's at a gas station about 100 miles west of us in St. Mary's, Ohio. One place has them, and then you go into the state of Indiana, and they're at every single Walmart, every single Target, every single place.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Here in Ohio, I've been to many a Walmart, many a Meijer, many a gas station. I hadn't seen them. I only see them at this one.
Wow.
So when we go in there, and we go in there about we go that way about maybe every 2 or 3 months. So when she sees them, she grabs 4 of them, and I see the price. I'm like, those things are $3 a bar. But I love you. You're my mom. I'm gonna pay for them, and I'll cry about my money later. but but anyways, that is just get to know you a little bit, man. And we'll get into everybody's favorite segment, which this is a segment I just came up with. Some other channel did something similar, and I went, that looks fun. So let me do my own little take on it.
Nice.
This one is called Release Rewind. So Release Rewind is where we take a look at movies that came out on Fridays. We take a look at 5, 15, 25, and 35 years ago that came out wide. Now, some of these did come out limited, but to me, doing the limited ones just aren't that fun. Because sure, they came out then, but that was for an Oscar consideration, or they were just opening. So we're going to go to 2020, and we can say whether we like the movie and what we think of what the box office is. I'll start off with 2020 because I have a partial thing for the first one, and we had January 24th, 2020, The Turning, The Gentleman, and The Last Full Measure. The Turning is the movie that earned $18.4 million worldwide. I'm not going to lie to you. As a mild horror fan, I didn't think it was awful. But the ending comes out of nowhere and it just ends. There's more that needs to be had with it. There's more that needs to be done.
Is that the one with Finn Wolfhard?
Yep.
In it, based on Turn of the Screw?
Yep.
Okay.
The spider comes out of his mouth, which is a nightmare in my eyes. But
oh yeah, absolutely.
That one earned $18.4 million. What did you think of The Turning?
It was okay. Like, it was not the best version of Turn of the Screw. It had some moments to it, but it was also not terribly memorable for me. I think that's where it lands. Just kind of like, it's okay.
Yeah. And it's definitely not the worst horror movie that came out in January. I mean, we had Night Swim, we've had Devil, we've had The Devil Inside, many a horror movie.
Night Swim sucked. I was so upset with that.
I will not lie. I was the only one in my theater at a Saturday 1 p.m. showing the weekend it came out. The first showing on Saturday, I was the only one in the theater. And the scene that scared me the most, and the only scene that really scared me, it's when that old lady's eyes turned black and she had a demon voice coming out of her when she's saying everything. That's what scares me in horror movies, is like, get your soul. Get away from me.
Yes.
Get away from me. The Gentleman came out that same day, earning $13.1 million. I thought that was a fun action film that spun off into a series on, I believe it's Netflix, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I enjoyed the movie. I have not seen the series yet. What do you think about the movie? And I know you've seen the series, but what did you think about the series?
I had fun with the movie, first off. I mean, I thought it was great. The big cast in it is just outstanding. Guy Ritchie, if you like his films, this is very Guy Ritchie, and so it was great as a Guy Ritchie fan. The series is also a lot of fun. It's different, but it's done really well. It's darkly humorous. I think kind of a big surprise, really, because when you watch the movie, you're like, why are we getting a series? Because why? I mean, we had the movie, we had the story, right? But it's different. And so that's where it comes into play. So I liked both of them for different reasons. It's been a long time, though, since I've seen the film. I think maybe I watched it once after it came out, because we saw it opening night at the theater, and then went back, and then I watched it once it hit VOD or something like that, or streaming or something, and then I haven't seen it since. So it's been a while, but yeah, good memories.
This next film I haven't seen. I remember when it came out on Blu-ray, and clearly nobody else saw it either, earning $3.3 million worldwide. The Last Full Measure. I know that's a war film. I know it's from Lionsgate, but that's about it.
I couldn't tell you. Didn't see it. Don't know.
Nope.
Yeah.
Moving on to 2010, we have the Best Picture nominee that should have won the Best Picture that year. I'm being very facetious. It's Tooth Fairy. Earning $112.6 million. The Rock is a Tooth Fairy. I have fond memories seeing ads for this on TV. I didn't watch the movie in theaters, though. I waited until the Blu-ray came to Dollar Tree about 8 years later, and I went, Dollar Tree has Tooth Fairy on Blu-ray. Hell yes.
Nice.
Watched it. Julie Andrews is charming.
I haven't seen it, I think, since it came out. I mean, we rented it like it. Probably we got it on Netflix in the discs when the discs were, being mailed for our kids, and I don't remember hating it. I think it was cute for what it was. Like, you went in knowing this is what it's going to be, and that's exactly what it was. And you're like, okay, fine, good enough.
My family is the type of family where if it's a family movie, it's automatically one that we watch. So when, say, a Playing with Fire came out, my family, there's God, there's Jesus, and there's John Cena. He's the man in our house. He is the guy. So for us, when he's in something, well, for me, when he's in something RG anything, I'm gonna watch it. Them, if it's PG, they think that's one of the greatest comedies ever made, just because it's their style of humor, specifically the shooting up the arm sleeve scene, which is disgusting in my eyes. But
I did not see that movie. I avoided that.
You did yourself a service.
Okay, good to know.
Does that mean I don't own it? No, I have the Blu-ray in my collection.
Hey, own the terrible stuff. I mean, come on. We all have these movies that are like horrible, and yet, yeah, I'll watch it again. Yeah, absolutely.
Last night, for the weirdest reason, I was in the mood to watch the Adam Sandler film Jack and Jill. So I watched it, and I went, this is awful, but I love it.
See? These hold special places for us, and you don't even have to justify it. This is what I want to watch. This is what I'm in the mood for. I don't care if you don't like it. I like it, and back off. And I have several of those. Yes.
All I have to say is that the Dunkachino should be a real thing. The 22nd also gave us a film called Extraordinary Measures. I don't remember seeing this. I remember walking into a family video and seeing the Blu-ray on the shelf, and it was so sun-faded that I remember nothing about it.
I'm looking it up right now on IMDb. I remember this coming out. Okay. I don't remember anything about it. Maybe one scene between Brendan Fraser and Harrison Ford. But yeah, no.
I know it's on my watch list on Prime. I think it's on Prime, so I might just pop that on this week maybe. But
there you go.
A movie I remember being all over the marketing in 2010 was Legion. Pre-Vision, Paul Bettany. And I haven't seen it, but a lot of people did. With $67.6 million, which in 2010, for a budget like that, that's not half bad. I mean, I remember hearing the movie wasn't great, but it was fun. That's all I remember hearing. It was fun.
This is also one of those that I haven't seen forever.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember almost nothing about it other than just some of the craziness that happens, but yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure it's like good, but fun maybe. Yeah.
Moving on to 2010, the year 2000. This one was one that I was very surprised with because I saw this film a few years ago, and it was streaming on, I think it was Hoopla, which is a library service that my library has. And I went, it's a rom-com with Freddie Prinze Jr. I haven't seen yet. How can this be? So we have the She's All That movie.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this is better. It's him and Julia Stiles in Down to You. This one earned $20 million. And I'm not going to lie to you, this movie is so damn sweet. It is charming. It's romantic. The chemistry between them is phenomenal. And the ending is exactly how a coming back together would be. And it's only like 80-something minutes. It's definitely worth a shot, but it's not a great rom-com, but as a rom-com fan, that's what you want. It's light and fluffy. It's very romantic.
Does it have the ending that we want? I mean, because here's the thing. Like, I hate La La Land.
Okay.
Because I don't watch rom-coms to come to the end and be disappointed by the relationship. My bar is pretty low for a rom-com. Just make it sweet and funny and let them get together. I don't care how implausible it is. This is not that.
From what I remember, I believe it's not the ending we want. No. The first half is very romantic. The second half, it's more of a drama. About them trying to come to a second chance.
Okay.
So it's a romantic drama, but it's also a romantic comedy. I would say give it a shot as just like a night film. It's very charming as a go to bed watch, right?
Okay.
Right after it. A film I remember hearing about came out that same day with a phenomenal cast. The End of the Affair, which is a remake of a 1950s or 60s film, did not make a lot of money. I barely see this out in the wild when I am doing a DVD hunt. The End of the Affair earned $10.6 million.
I don't know if I've seen this one. I mean, you got, Ralph Fiennes, Julianne Moore, Stephen Ray. Wow, this does not look familiar to me at all. That doesn't mean anything.
No.
That doesn't mean that I haven't seen it. It just means that I don't remember.
It's been 25 years. So, I mean...
I've seen at least 2 movies since then, so...
Yeah. And then moving on to the other 2 films that came out that same exact day, I remember seeing this book cover at school all the time. And that is Angela's Ashes, earning $13 million. I did not know, however, that the thing was almost 2.5 hours long. That book looked so small, and I went, that looks like a horror movie. And I turned away. My 6-year-old self in elementary school said, that looks scary. Get me to the Elmo book. Get me to the SpongeBob book. That's more my speed.
Yeah, I remember this just not being happy at all.
Yeah. And then the other one played to the bone. Woody Harrelson, Antonio Banderas. I have not seen this one, a boxing film. I have the Blu-ray. It was at the Dollar Tree for many, many years in multiple rounds. So, that's just quality. But it could be a good film. Just because it's at the Dollar Tree doesn't mean it's a bad film. It just means they had a lot of overstock at the studio and they could send them some cheap copies. But I'll watch that at some point this year, I think, more than likely.
There you go. Yeah, I haven't seen it. Yeah.
And then the last film, Full Release Rewind, is a Best Picture winner. That is one of the best, I think, of this guy's career. Maybe his best performance. Bit of a hot take. Driving Miss Daisy from 1990, earning $106.5 million.
I saw this in the theater and loved it.
I remember being maybe 10, 11 years old, and I got the DVD from Walmart because my dad would just be like, go to the $5 bin and see if there's something in there that maybe you want to see. I brought that up and he goes, really? I went, what? It looks good. He goes, okay, I don't think you're going to get it. Well, I bring it home and I watch it maybe a week or so later, and it charms the pants off you. It's so sweet. It's one of the sweetest, most gentle films, but yet funny, engaging, and a very heart-touching emotional ending.
It's been forever and a day since I've seen this, but yeah, I was blown away when I saw it in the theater. You know, like it's one of these, and I may have gone to see it because it was like an Oscar nominee or something, and just remembering, yeah, the sweetness and the humor that was in there that sometimes you don't expect, and yet just like it affects you as you walk out. And so, yeah, nice one.
And that is Release Rewind, and I know a lot of people really enjoy it. Oh, and look who's back again. It's Sav. It's very late where you are, man. He's in the UK, so it's like 1:42 in the morning, so it's very late over there. I am so glad that you're back. And he goes, oh, this part of the show makes me feel old.
Yes.
That's why I do it, because a lot of people say it makes them feel old. Some movies are good. Some movies are so bad they're good. Yeah, absolutely. That is Release Rewind. And did I make you feel old? Stay tuned, because on Tuesday we have a lot more to talk about. I'll have this every single week, and on Tuesdays we do 10, 20, 30, 40, and even 50 years back, which sometimes that's hard. The furthest I went back was, I think, November, December of 1939 when The Wizard of Oz did it. So I went great. And they had their 85th anniversary.
Wow. That is a horror movie.
Yeah. But let us know your thoughts in the comments down below, and let us know what you think. To wrap up the show, we got 3 more topics. And this one was actually thought up by my group of friends. I was just saying the box office. And I'm like, I need a name. Let me know what you think. And they said, we're going to call it Ticket Tracker. So Ticket Tracker is where we take a look at what came out this past weekend and what is the top 5 movies at the box office. This is a very interesting weekend because not a lot came out this past weekend. This weekend, there's a bigger title out. Last week, we had Mufasa, The Lion King, earning $12.55 million, now bringing its global run to $601 million.
Wow.
Did you think that this film was going to be this big, or did you think that this movie was going to be a bit of a flop?
No, this is surprising. I did not even go to a screening of it because I just didn't want to see it. So yeah, no, wow. But I mean, it also came out right at Christmas time. And so this is the perfect fare for a Christmas release. You've got a family friendly movie that features animals, whether or not those, I mean, this is not live action, it's all CGI, so it's still an animated movie. But I, yeah, no, I mean, I'm surprised that it's doing so well.
And then after that was a little comedy that got no marketing, One of Them Days, earning an $11.8 million. It's great to see a small little comedy doing well. Wolfman is not doing well at $10.8 million. Sonic the Hedgehog only taking another 24% drop, $8.6 million, and ending off with Den of Thieves at 6.5. The big story, however, is Moana 2, now at $1 billion. The third 2024 film that came out to earn $1 billion, and all three were from Disney Studios.
Considering the reviews on this, I'm very shocked.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, I guess good for them. I don't know. It's
I still haven't seen the film. I didn't get time to see it in theaters, and what I found out is the first one is so beloved that it was the most watched film on Disney Plus for 2 years running. Out of everything on that app, it's been Moana and Frozen have been the top two, the most watched. Which, I mean, sure, if you have a 3-year-old or a 4-year-old, maybe a bit older, Moana, Frozen, shove it in front of their face and they will love it, and they will. It's
just on repeat. Yeah.
Yeah. So it makes complete sense. But that was Ticket Tracker. The second to last topic is a new one that I started the last time. I used to do only the Netflix top 10, but the other ones have a bit of love too. So we call this the Streaming 10. So the Streaming 10 is very interesting because this tells you what everybody is watching. But it also tells you how bad of a job that Netflix does with its marketing. Because taking a look here, we're going to go into the movies. Because the movies in the top 10, we have Back in Action. Not a great film. It's fine. At number 1. You Gotta Believe, a small little indie baseball film with Luke Wilson at number 2. Despicable Me 2 at 3. The First One at 4. Hotel Transylvania 2 at number 5. Secret Life of Bets. The Boss Baby. Trolls Band Together. Ad Vatum. And The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
Why are all of these animated what?
Yeah. That's why I do this. I'll answer that because for, I kid you not, 16 weeks in a row. No, it's 16 to 20 weeks in a row. The Super Mario Bros. Movie was in the top 10 of Netflix. That many weeks in a row. Until they lost the license.
The new one? Or the one? Oh, okay.
I mean, continuously. It was like a game with 2 movies. When Shrek first came back, two of them, I mean, it was number 1, number 2, and then it hovered between 6 and 7 for 4 straight months because everyone was continually watching that, and Mario was right there with it until they both left the service.
I mean, I can see Shrek because that is an intergenerational film. You know, my kids were little, but they didn't see it in the theater when I saw it opening weekend. But then once they got a little older and could understand the humor and stuff, then they absolutely love it. You know, and so I mean, I could totally see that one just like, oh, it hits the platform, boom, everybody rushes to it and everybody wants to see it because it's, you know, in the morning I'm making pancakes or waffles.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And then we'll go into the top 10 TV shows. This is more of the Netflix wheelhouse because a lot of people that I know watch the Netflix series because they come home from work and their wife or anybody is home and they're like, what do you want to watch? the cable bill is getting close to $250 where I am. So you have Netflix, you have Hulu, you have Prime, you have multiple shows. Well, Netflix drops new shows every single week. So today, on Friday, January 24th, The Night Agent is number 1. American Prime Evil at number 2. Wags to Riches at number 3. Exo Kitty at number 4. Squid Game, the new season of Squid Game at number 5. Younger, which is a show I haven't heard of in about 5 years since it got taken off, I believe it was TV Land. A anime show here called Sakamoto Days. I don't know what it is. The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live, Jerry Springer Live, lights, camera, action, and a crime show called Missing You.
That is terrible. Don't watch that one.
But that tells you everybody is watching on Netflix, because everybody watches the crime shows, the murder mysteries. But Netflix pumps out series every single week. And when something like Wags to Riches or a Selling the OC or Selling Sunset's up there, I'm like, sure, it's garbage TV, but top 10 on Netflix? There's How I Met Your Mother on there, and Seinfeld, and actually good shows.
Yeah, I don't know. I watch a lot of non-English series on Netflix. That's why I love Netflix so much, is that it drops so many productions from all over the world, and that's, I don't know, that's my wheelhouse right there, especially if it's crime, mystery, thriller, something like that, and it's a foreign language or non-English. Yes, I'm there.
Moving on to the Hulu top 15 series. This is very interesting because this tells you what is going to get a renewal, because a lot of these do very well in ratings, but they change very often. Number 1 is High Potential. I really enjoy that show. I've seen the first 3 or 4 episodes. It's a very funny crime series, all about this woman who has a photographic memory, and she's very good at puzzles. So the FBI is trying to keep her on as a secret, sort of. She solves a lot of the crimes, and she sees steps that nobody else sees. Number 2 is The Rookie. Not surprising. I mean, you put Nathan in a series that's probably going to go for a long time. I mean, my God, Castle went for 8 seasons. Abbott Elementary, I personally haven't seen it. I've heard it's great. Shifting Gears, it's a Tim Allen comedy. It can go one way or the other.
Rating or reviews from critics have not been kind to that.
No. I love Home Improvement. I could not get into Last Man Standing.
I liked the first season or 2 of Last Man Standing, and then it just kind of, especially once they replaced one of the daughters in it, I was like, no.
Then we have Will Trent at number 5. Doc, which is a interesting show. I saw a preview for that. I was going to watch it, but I just completely forgot about it. 7, not a surprise, is General Hospital. I mean, it's been on longer
Forever.
than, yeah. My mom is 58. It's been on, I think, longer than she's been alive. So it's going to keep going. Number 8 is Special Forces World's Toughest Test. 911 Lone Star at number 9. This is in my shows here. The Kitchen Nightmares. I enjoy that show, but I kid you not, every Friday, as I am having my dinner, I watch the new episode of Hell's Kitchen. Every week, every new season, without fail, it's Hell's Kitchen, because I'm a cook. I know what he's looking for. And Gordon Ramsay just tears your head off in the most a-hole-ish British way while still being charming as all hell. Another one of my favorites is Celebrity Jeopardy. because it makes me feel smart when these celebrities don't know the answers and I do. 13 is Rescue High Surf. I haven't heard great ratings for it. Not surprising here is the Nightline. It's a Nightline thing. Facelift after fillers. I don't know what that is, and I don't know who that lady is. Raising spirits, but
can we take a moment though to appreciate the hairdo? I mean, that's
Dolly style.
At first I thought it was Dolly Parton, like an old picture of Dolly Parton. I really did, but that has its own personality. I mean, that hair comes in before she does. I mean, that is wow. I'm going to show my wife this picture just because. I mean, this is going to be great.
I bet you that her hair took the substance. I bet you her hair took the substance.
Yes. Nasty.
And now we go into the last topic. And this is where we take a look at every single thing big that's coming out movie-wise for the next week or two. So before we do that, I have one question to ask you.
Okay.
And that is this.
Miss Lippy's car is green.
Did you know her car was green?
No.
No? Neither did I, because we don't see her damn car in Billy Madison. So I don't know how he found that out. But we've reached the top of the show, so we have to do this.
Harry, I've reached the top!
We are at the last segment, and that is what's releasing in theaters and on streaming. And for this, we go to the ever-reliable releases.com. This tells you everything from the big budget stuff to the small little VOD films. So this week we have Flight Risk in theaters. I have not heard very gracious things about it.
Nope.
Mark Wahlberg's hair looks like it took the substance, but it reacted very, very poorly to it.
Well, it's his off week because the other chick's hair has it this week.
And then you saw the brand new horror film Presence. How was that one?
Okay, they have miscategorized it as a horror. It is not a horror. It is a family drama and a psychological drama. Amazing. I loved it. It is quiet. It is like the filming is done in vignette type of things, and so you have all of these little segments. It's from the perspective of a presence, of a ghost, and there's one moment towards the end of the film that the hair on my arms stood up. It was like, the more I think about this movie, the more I really, really enjoyed it. So if you get to see this, go see that one. But don't go in thinking horror. Don't go in thinking scary, because it's not. It's more just tense and uneasy, and like you're trying to figure out what's going on and why is this thing here.
Okay. Along with that is a film that I just rented. I'm a sucker for a good shark film, but I'm also a sucker for crap shark film. So I rented Into the Deep.
Ooh.
I'll have a review of that on Tuesday's show. Hooray for me.
That's about the reaction I would expect from that. I mean, come on, look at the the poster. That's exactly what the movie I think it is. Yeah. Okay. Awesome.
One that I'm very excited for, because I've heard a lot about it, is Oh Canada. The lead star is great with Richard Gere. It's a small little indie flick that opened overseas first, and it's a Kino Lorber film directed by Paul Schrader.
Interesting. I've not even, it's not on my radar at all.
I'm looking forward to seeing it. I haven't rented it yet, but I'm really looking forward to seeing it. A film that my buddy saw, because his theater literally gets everything, and that's a brand new Angel Studios film called Brave the Dark. Angel Studios can go many different ways. Mostly it goes down the, but it's Angel Studios. It has its built-in audience who think it's going to be amazing no matter what, and God bless you for it. But if you want a really interesting film that's entertaining, check out right now on Max Your Monster with Melissa Barrera. That's phenomenal. I had a great time with that one. It's stupid.
Fun.
It's really stupid.
I loved the music in it. I
It's
really
so
did.
good.
That moment where they're is it she's playing the piano,
Mhm.
and oh gosh, like I loved that song. That was
I didn't know that she could sing until I saw her in a film in 2022 or 2023 called Carmen with I believe it's her and Paul Mescal. I think was in that. Phenomenal film.
nice.
Down here, going down to next week on VOD, we have Baby Girl. I will be watching that.
Yeah, I didn't see that in the theater, so we'll see.
No theater around me got it. No
Oh, wow.
theater within 50 miles of me got the movie.
Wow.
My Cinemark, 30 minutes south of me, didn't even get it, and they normally get this type of a film. But we'll see. One that two that I'm doing a big fun double feature with Dogman and Companion next Thursday.
That's quite the double feature.
Yeah. Yeah. There's not a lot of Thursdays where I have a lot of free time to go and see a couple movies. So I'm like, and I kid you not, my theater barely ever gets 2 new movies in a week. The week they, so I'm like, I got to do this, and I haven't been to the theater since Wicked, so I got to get back to the theater.
Okay.
And I figured, why not start with Dogman, and then go into a dark, twisted thriller.
Have you seen the trailer for that?
No,
Companion?
No.
I saw the teaser, which was enough for me. And last night when we went into Presents, we purposely showed up a little later so that we would miss most of the trailers.
Mm-hmm.
And I walked in during a longer trailer for this. I've already got my tickets for it for next week. And I am upset because I heard things that spoiled it. And I was like, what the oh my god, so
I'm staying away from it.
Yeah, I want to remove it from my brain, except I can't. I know it. And it's like, dang it. Yeah.
Well, at least next week we go back to my roots, and I get to go back and visit Will Ferrell again with Reese Witherspoon on Amazon Prime the day before with You're Cordially Invited. I'm looking forward to this. I am a Will Ferrell nut. I think one of the all-time funniest films of all time is Elf and Step Brothers. When I was like 5 years old, my family Halloween was a big no-no because it's the devil's day.
Ah, yes.
And also I am lactose intolerant and I can't have the chocolate. So my trick or treat was going at 5 years old. I got a Happy Meal, and I got to go to Walmart and pick out a tape.
Nice.
And that time it was Elf.
Nice.
So we came home, we had our burgers and fries, and we watched Elf on Halloween night.
There's nothing wrong with that at all. That sounds perfect.
Yeah, that sounds like what I would like to do tomorrow night too. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Except with a Big Mac instead of Happy Meal because I eat a lot more now. On VOD, we have Sing Sing. No theater within 100 miles played this. And it played, I guarantee you, 400 theaters worldwide. Worldwide.
I wanted to see this, and didn't have the it didn't play around me either, which was just so unfortunate.
My buddy and I are splitting this, so we're gonna do the buying it for 25, and we're gonna split it. So it saves us money, and we both get to see this, see if it's
Nice.
worth the Best Picture hype that it sadly was apparently snubbed for. I can't say it because I haven't seen it yet. And then we have The Fire Inside, a film that didn't do all that well. The trailer looked decent.
It was fun. It was. I mean, it's not like a spectacular movie, but it had a good message and it was entertaining.
And then the last film that I'm going to highlight is one that I actually got a screener for called Valiant One. I'm looking forward to this one. A military thriller film that I was lucky to get a screener for. So expect a review for that one when the embargo drops. But
Nice.
as always, everybody, it's been awesome to be on here. This is my longest show yet, and we do have some comments, and I don't want to leave those unanswered. Yes, it's 1:42, so right now it is 2:06 in the morning over there. God bless you, sir. God bless you. Yes, yep, I made him feel old. Yes, I did. Yes, Moana 2 made $1 billion. Awesome, which means we will get a third one now. Cool. I liked okay. He liked the Back in Action film. It's a very
Hey, you know what? It knows what it is.
Yeah.
It's fun, and that's all you need. If you want just an escape type of film that you don't have to think about, that implausibilities don't matter, that character and plot protection are all over the place, and that doesn't bother you, it's a fun thing to just sit down and go, yeah, okay, cool. You know, the first 15 minutes are rough.
Yeah.
Just get past that, and then it finds its groove a little bit, and then it's just casual watch.
And thank you, Cameron Diaz, for coming back to Hollywood, because I missed you and you stole it away from Jamie Foxx. And the final comment is, yes, that's a great Halloween. Next Halloween, I'm getting a Big Mac and watching Elf. Yes! New tradition!
Idea. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
But as always, guys, like, subscribe if you're new. And before we end, would you ever want to come back on and do another show with me, Chris?
Oh, of course. Hands down. Yeah, totally.
Awesome.
This has been great. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
And as always, guys, like and subscribe. I have a link to his channel down below and to the Ruby Tuesday down below. And we will see all of you guys next time.
So where did you go?